Hello and welcome to Longevity with Light. I'm your host, Leslie Klein, and I am so excited about this wearable light technology that I've been using for now 10 months. So this month we're exploring the powerful combination of X39 and Aeon, also known as the dynamic duo. We're also going to be talking about the new water machine that LifeWave is coming out with. But before I introduce my co-host tonight, our special guest is Dr. Holly Rabbe. She's an acupuncturist who integrates several natural healing modalities into her practice. But before we get to Dr. Holly, let me introduce you to my co-host. I've got Lifetime LifeWave Executive Director Beth Steele with us. Beth, welcome to
Hi,
the
thanks.
program.
Thank you.
And Beth, we've got a disclaimer that we're going to read. I'm going to ask you now, before I get started there, I do want to address our viewers. So welcome to all of you who are watching. And remember that you can ask questions anytime during this program. So comment from whatever platform you're on, and we will share those with the audience. So Beth, will you please read the disclaimer?
You bet. Happy to. LifeWave products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The information provided is for educational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. Individual results may vary. Consult with a healthcare professional before using LifeWave products, especially if you have a medical condition or are taking medications.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right. So Dr. Holly Rabbe is an acupuncturist who integrates several modalities, including heart-centered therapy, craniosacral therapy, aromatherapy, nutrition, herbs, photobiomodulation, vibrational and sound therapy, meditation, and lifestyle coaching, excuse me. So coming to us from Pennsylvania, here is Dr. Holly Rabbe. How wonderful to see you, Dr. Holly. Thank you
Yes.
for being here.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So, yes, so today we're going to talk about the dynamic duo. But before we get into the combination, the Flagstaff patch is the X39. So, could you talk about that and also tell us about your journey as to how you got involved with the patches and how long you've been using them?
Well, 3.5 years ago, I was at the Consciousness Conference for Consciousness and Human Evolution, and Dr. Stacy Holweger was there, and she had a table with LifeWave. And I had known Dr. Stacy from 15 years ago. I had been a cranial sacral therapist, and I had the opportunity to work on her daughter. And I knew when she was using something that it was definitely vetted, and that she totally believed in it and that it would work. That's how I looked at it, because I knew her and I knew her integrity and how she was. So as soon as she was like, this patch, I'm like, wow, okay, I'm going to try it. You're using it with your daughter. I'm going to try it. And that began my journey. And I just figured, oh, well, I'm just going to use one. I'll just use the X39. But that didn't last long. I wound up, I do use multiple patches. I will say that I use the X39 every day, unless I forget to take it off, then I skip a day. If I forget and I go to put it on the next morning, I'm like, oh, wait, I forgot to take it off last night. Because you should have the on-off cycle when you're using the patches, because they work by photobiomodulation. So that's an on-off cycle. So you need to have the ability for your body to have that on for 12 hours, off and rest for 12 hours, on for 12 hours, off for 12 hours. So that's when I first started. And I was so, for my personal being, I had really great results. So it helped me with my cognitive ability to put things together, so that I was able to go back to school and get my doctorate. I had my master's, and I've been working as an acupuncturist for about 15 years before I went back to school. And before that, and I do cranial sacral therapy, I do advanced brain therapy, heart-centered therapy. And this was just such a great addition to my practice. I do use it in my practice with people. I do recommend it. And like I said, I've been using it for myself for quite a while.
What did you notice most your first, say, year of using the X39?
Well, I can say that pretty immediately. I'm one of those people that reacts really fast to things. Like the first time I took an herbal formula, I felt a difference in an hour. That's not usual. I'm just saying. So you can't say that, oh, you're going to get the type of results that she got. Like a lot of times they will tell you it's something that you take over time, and it takes usually 6 to 8 weeks before you start to see something. What I noticed was I would go to sit normally on a Zoom call, and it would be a 6-hour educational Zoom on Chinese medicine. And Chinese medicine is not an easy study. It's quite complex and very circular. So a lot of times they'll go to a concept and then they'll circle back and add all these different layers and turn it around. So you have to really be very present when you're doing that. So a lot of times I would have to stop. After 20 minutes, I would start to go, oh my gosh. I'd have to stop, rewind, stop, rewind. What did they say? Wait a minute, how did that go? But when I started using them, for me, I noticed that I was able to focus a lot longer. So I was able to do the 6 hours without having to, and they give you breaks during that 6 hours, but I was able to actually do it without having to stop and rewind. So that was quite really nice for me to be able to have that ability. So I do feel much better in that manner.
Mhm.
And so it's not like, I mean, for me, that was major.
Yeah, having that, what do they call it? Stamina, mental
Absolutely.
stamina to go through 6 hours of training like
Yes.
that.
Yes, it definitely increased my stamina. And I would say that the second patch that I started to use was actually energy enhancers. And that really did increase my stamina and my ability to just keep going like the Energizer Bunny. So over time, I've increased my ability to practice in my office by about 25%.
Wow.
So, yeah. So instead of this amount of hours, I'm doing like this amount of hours, and then I still have energy to go to the gym.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So in all your 40 years of practice, have you seen anything quite like this that gave you these kind of results?
Okay. I've done a lot of things over the years. Herbs, they work fantastic. All different types of energy medicine. I mean, I got into acupuncture because it works. I got into using herbs because they work. Cranial sacral therapy because it works. This is different. This is something that helps promote longevity in your body. It helps to increase your stamina. And it's something that's totally different. And what I like about it is it's so easy for people. So you put it on and you just take it off, and you don't have to swallow anything. So that's a real benefit that I see.
Definitely. Okay, so let's talk about the dynamic duo. This is where X39 is recommended wearing daily for, like you said, 12 hours on, then 12 hours off, and that activates our stem cells. So why the combination with Aeon? Why is Aeon recommended to work as well?
Well, how I like to describe it to people and explain is that the Aeon helps to decrease the inflammation in the body. And when you decrease that, then the X39, the peptides can go around and they can do more work. So they work well together so that it can expedite the process. So that's how I do it. Like right now, I'm wearing the Aeon right here on the side of my neck.
Mm-hmm. Why are you wearing it there? As
Oh,
opposed to the like C7 or under the belly button?
okay. So that's a good question. Good question. So I have an old neck thing where it gets really kind of cantankerous, I would say. So I put it there. For me, being an acupuncturist, I know a lot about different points on the body. I could put it anywhere. When I put it on my body, no matter where I put it, it's like I can just feel it, and it's like, oh, that feels better. But I put it there specifically because it is an acupuncture point, and it's a point that I would use on myself for my neck. So that's why I put it there. But it works anywhere you put it. They do. Sorry. They do in the book, when they give you the book that comes with the patches, they have on there specific points that they do recommend, because that's where the studies were done using the patches, so that you put them on points that are, and those points are acupuncture type of points in the body. So they're areas where you have a little bit more of a, I would say, a vortex of energy. That's how I can describe that.
Okay. So as far as the Aeon is reducing inflammation in the body. So is my understanding correct in that the reason it we activate our stem cells with the X39, so we have a certain amount that are activated. But where there's inflammation in the body, the stem cells go to that and they would get used up by the inflammation. And by reducing inflammation, then that kind of gives you more stem cells to work on repairing and rejuvenating your body. Is that the right understanding of it?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it helps it to be able to, right. So it's going to work better then if you're able to let the copper, the peptide, to be able to go run around and do its thing instead of it working on the inflammation. And it's really interesting when you listened to David talk about how he even came about that, and looking at, because that's another peptide that's in the Aeon patch. And he talks about how he looked at bees and royal jelly, which is really, really interesting. And how when that peptide, they did studies, and the peptide was given to the worker bees, because the life of the queen bee is 50 times the longevity of a regular bee. They gave it to worker bees to see what would happen, and they lived 5 times longer. So it's just really interesting how it's like, oh, this peptide, and we do normally have that peptide. So that's how I wound up making that one, which is really interesting.
Oh, that's great. All right. Are there any other examples of the dynamic duo that you want to share where you saw some amazing results?
I would say they just work so well together. I can say that. I do think that it expedites and makes everything work faster. So if you're getting things to be able to work faster and you're getting results faster, that it's just going to help the person even more. So that's how I...
So if the X39, say it took a year to do what it does in your body to get you to your homeostasis, your peak health, adding the Aeon might shorten that by 6 months so that you get those results within a shorter period of time.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's an individual. Right. So you have your people that react immediately, and then you have your people that take a longer time. It's absolutely going to work in synergy. That's the reason why. And David Schmidt, the owner of the company, the CEO, who's developed these, that's his favorite combination. That's his favorite combination because of how they work so well together. And Aeon was something that he actually developed before he developed the X39. It took him 10 years to develop X39 to be able to get the that peptide signal.
Got it. Wow. Now, the LifeWave has come up with a new water machine. So, Beth is asking me to, can you explain photobiomodulation and how that works with the X39?
Oh, sure.
And then we'll talk about the water machine.
So photobiomodulation, what happens is you're a light being. If you looked at somebody under a night vision camera, I'm sure most people have seen a picture of somebody under a night vision camera at some point, and they're looking through the dark and you can see the outline of the person and the colors coming off the person. That's our light. So our light comes off of our body and it stimulates the patch, and then it reflects back to you what to do. So with the X39, it's stimulating to increase the peptide, the copper peptide. Whereas the Aeon, that's to increase the other peptide to help lower inflammation. So the reason you have to have an on-off cycle, because when you think of even people using red light therapy, that's also a phototherapy, you don't use it 24 hours a day. It would be too much. It would, the body would ignore the signal after a while. It's kind of like turning the radio on and having the radio on 24 hours a day. You wouldn't even know what song was on. You wouldn't even hear it after a while. That's how I look at it. And that's how I explain it to people. So it is important to have that on-off cycle when you're using photobiomodulation. Did I answer the question?
Yes, I think so. So basically, it's light from our body activating the patch, and then a frequency sent to the body. So photobiomodulation just means light creating some kind of biological process.
But yes,
in the
creating
body.
a change in the yes.
So, all right. Let's talk about the water machine. I haven't had a chance to try the water or anything, so I'm really curious. Tell us about the water machine, what your adventure has been with that.
So I love the water machine. I'm just going to say I have people coming because I decided to have it put into my office. I'll just show. There it is. It's in my office. I brought it here instead of bringing it to my house because I do work 5 days a week. So I figured I would be able to use it with my clients, which I have. And I have clients coming in with their mason jars like, can I get some more water? Because it really is quite incredible. It really does feel, and I know that's not a word we're supposed to use, but it really is a nice addition. So I oftentimes give it to people before they will have their session. And I've had quite a few comments of people really enjoying the water. And like I said, they'll come in with their mason jars looking for some extra to bring home with them. So for me, when I first drank it, I could feel it and it was going around. You could just feel it in the body and you could feel your body having more stamina. So for example, for me, I started going to the gym and, I'm up to being able to do 50 minutes of cardio and 44 flights of stairs. And I only started the gym 2 weeks ago. I really wasn't that active before that.
Just from the water, just from drinking one. Are you drinking 8 ounces of water or 16 ounces every day?
Probably more than that. I would say that I know. They say that a glass of water is good. And I don't normally go around overdoing anything, but I can say that I probably have about 32 ounces a day.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you that I would not say that that would be the best thing to start with. I've been doing stuff for my health for almost 40 years. I've been into doing herbs and acupuncture and all these different types of things, Tai Chi. So I function at a high level.
Right.
So to add this in, I didn't get any type of reaction per se. But, if you're not 100%, I would just start slower.
Got it. Now, let's talk about the water machine. What exactly does it do? My understanding is that it adds light to the hydrogen bonds or something in the water. Can you talk about it? And it's actually a brand new water.
It is totally, that's the thing. It is totally brand new because like I've looked at it, I've had hydrogen water. I've had water machines where they put homeopathic frequencies, where they clean out the water with different filters, but then they are adding tubes with different homeopathics in there. So I've had lots of different types of machines, and I really was a water snob, I would say. But But when I heard this was coming out, because I had looked at getting a hydrogen machine for myself, I said, oh, I'm waiting for that one. I'm waiting for LifeWave's water. And I'm so glad that I did. It's a great machine.
Mm-hmm. So it gave you a lot of energy. Have you noticed anything else from the water, or what it's done for some of your patients?
Well, they wouldn't be coming in with their mason jar if they weren't loving it. I can say that. But I have noticed that when I will use it with people, that they do comment on the water, that they really enjoy it.
Does it taste different, or does it have a different like
So
texture?
how I can describe it is, to me, it feels to me like it doesn't have any density when you drink it, which is an interesting phenomenon. Does it have a taste? Yes, it does taste different, but there's such a clarity that it's one of those things. Like on my day off, I come down off my mountain to come to my office to get water because I'm like, oh, I want water today.
Wow.
So I do.
So we're ingesting light, or we're putting light in the
Yes.
body, and it's
So
being distributed from within, as opposed to a patch that's the light's coming from outside the body and going in.
yeah, so just the systemic feeling and the stamina. I mean, to go from not exercising to being able to do a lot of exercise in a short period of time. And I have energy all the way through, like after doing a full day's work and then being able to go to the gym in the evening. I don't get home then till 10:30, sometimes 11 from the gym. And I'm back up at 6 in the next morning and I'm ready to go.
Wow.
So the stamina is, so it's just so light. It feels just promoting is how I could say it. Promoting. So there are things in life that promote you to feel well, and there are things that can add. So I look at it as the bank account of your health. So you can either add to the bank account of your health, or you can make a withdrawal. So eating the bagel with cream cheese and processed jelly might be more of a withdrawal, whereas this just feels like an addition, where it really helps to add.
Got it. I'm going to bring Beth back on now. Beth, also, I believe you have the water machine, right?
I do, yes.
And what have you noticed? Same kind of thing? How does it taste? Do you sense that lack of density, that you're maybe drinking light?
Yeah, and that was a really great way of putting it. I hadn't, cognitively thought of it that way, but definitely that was a great way to word it. And I've always had a lot of water. I've always been a big water drinker. The taste doesn't ever bother me, or I really even notice it. This tasted very clean and pure, but I've had a lot of friends come over to try it, and some of them just don't like water, and drinking water is hard, and they usually need to add something to it. And every one of them in those circumstances said that this was different, that it had no taste, that it was very easy to drink. And I think when you're feeling something so immediately, it's very rewarding. So right away, one of the first feelings that I had, and the few people I know had, is kind of a sense of euphoria. And I think that kind of comes from clarity. Like right away, you just feel really clear, like kind of any brain fog removed, and kind of a euphoric, joyful feeling. Definitely gives you energy, a good clean energy, not like a speedy caffeine type energy, but just where you're focused, you're on task, you're motivated. So yeah, it's been amazing. And even my cat, how instinctive animals are. When that light comes on, it's a really beautiful machine, and this light comes on as the water's filling. She runs over to the machine and stares at it and waits for it. And then, I give her hers. and she paws at the ground and she rubs her face on the bowl. And then she drinks it all. It's just amazing. And it's like, is she really seeing the energy or seeing light? They can see different dimensions than us, or whatever. But yeah, so that was really interesting to see. And she was a kind of a feral cat, and she's much calmer and much more affectionate now. So that's been really fun to see an animal change like that.
Yeah. How much water do you give her?
I give her probably about 8 ounces a day. She kind of, and it has up to a 5-hour shelf life. So I'm not sure if she's getting all of it in that 5 hours. I know she drinks that first bowl, pretty much gone. That is probably 4 to 6 ounces, and then I fill her up a little bit more later. So she's getting a good amount. And like Dr. Holly, I can't leave it alone. In fact, I was going to ask, is there any chance you can drink too much? Because I think I do about 64 ounces a day of it. I just, it's just, if I'm going to go for water, I just go for this water. But because it does give us energy, we do try to stop drinking it by 3 o'clock so we don't have trouble sleeping. And so that's why I was interested in you, Dr. Holly. If you're drinking it in the evening, it's not keeping you up.
No.
That's great. One of the things I heard about it as well through LifeWave David Schmidt is that the patent office had to create a brand new patent for category of water machine because this isn't like any other water machine because of what it does. So a whole new patent category in the patent office because, of course, it is patented technology. So that's pretty amazing because, I mean, the molecular structure of it, the light infusion filters out almost everything. There's a few things it doesn't, but there's just nothing else like it. It is hydrogen water as well too, but on steroids.
One thing I can say is I had no negative effect, whereas when I've had plain hydrogen water, like over 8 ounces, and I've been like, oh, too much. So that's just something that I didn't think of until you just mentioned the hydrogen. But yes, it does have the hydrogen in there, but I feel fantastic drinking it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. And I was going to ask you, with all the modalities that you do in your practice, which are just so amazing and powerful, right? That I love acupuncture, the cranial work you do, all those things. How do you incorporate the patch into your clinic, into your practice? It seems like a perfect complement because it can be an at-home therapy for people to continue what you've done for them, opening channels or releasing pain.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then they can take it home, continue using it. But how do you kind of integrate it, or any input on that?
Well, because it is something there. A lot of people are wanting to feel well and to have that ability to be healthy way into their older years. So a lot of people are just drawn to it. I do have some on my desk, a stand with all the information. People come in, I have the information there, but I also talk to some people. I had somebody once come in and I'm like, you know what, I think, because they were telling me that they had a lot of financial restrictions. And I said, you know what, I think overall that for the amount of times that you would have to see me and all this other stuff, because they had a lot of stuff going on, I said, this may be something you really want to look at as something to use, even instead of, like, I'm happy to be here for you and I will be here for you, but that's your choice. And I have so many people that have been doing it for when I first started bringing it into the office 3 years ago. I have a lot of people that have come up to me like, oh yeah, I'm ready to try those patches. So a lot of times over time, it's like people just finally decide, oh, I'm going to do that. The other day I had somebody come in and they were like, you know what? We stopped, me and my husband, for a month, and we realized we're not going without them anymore. And they went back to using them. So I've seen that a couple of times too, where it's like people will do it for a little bit and then they're like, oh, you know what? That really was making a difference.
Yes, they like to test it. Is this really making a difference? And then, yeah, I'll get those babies back on.
Yeah.
Because you just start aging normally again, which we know what the aging process is, pain and crunks and slow recovery and quicker injury and, all the things that come up. So yeah, it's amazing. And I love that you pointed that out, that this is so cost effective compared to a lot of the other services available. And so easy to do at home. You don't have to go in or anything. So once you've done your magic on them, this is a way to not go backwards and to continue increasing their health and even reversing their age. I mean, David specifically states this is age reversal, right? It's clinically proven, patented age reversal of all the organs and tissues and systems. So what a boost to everything you're providing them. What a beautiful full package.
All right. Well, we've come to time. So, Dr. Holly, do you have any last thoughts that you want to leave with us before we go?
I would just say, I mean, they're amazing. They just do things that other things don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I love it. I would not, everything I have probably about 500 products in my office. And I can tell you that that's my favorite. LifeWave is my favorite. I've been using herbs for over 30 years, but LifeWave is my favorite.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Holly, for being with us tonight.
Thank you
so much. All right.
And thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome. Thank you, Beth, for being here. And I do want to let everyone know that our next Longevity with Light will be next month on November 13th. The way to get to register for that is tinyurl.com/longevity NOV 2025. So, and we're going to have Dr. Dawn talk about the terrific trio, which is basically the dynamic duo, plus we're adding glutathione. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Beth, for being here. And we will see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.